As you guys can see, we are currently frozen. Um, aren't doing much of anything with this at the moment. We tried our best to do a little update on here as well as trying to get another browser working. But as you can see, we're just hung up. Yeah, don't know where to go from here. Guess we'll figure it out in the video. I am no stranger to failure. In fact, you can see that for yourself looking at my organic chemistry grades when I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Jokes aside, today's video is another example of having everything planned out well, but it just falls apart when you try to bring the idea to life. Let's start from the beginning. I wanted to build myself a dashboard to monitor all of the servers I had in my home lab environment, and ended up with this design. I knew this was the first iteration, so it wouldn't exactly be the prettiest thing in the world, but I knew I'd learn a lot from it, have fun making it, and it would be something useful. In order to get this accomplished, I had a bit of a checklist that needed to be addressed. Get a web server running, create and design the web page, get the backend logic working, deploy it on a Pi Zero, and then mounting it on the back of the flat screen that I had. I bet hearing this, you thought I would do this in the correct order. You know, getting it to work on the Pi before creating the mount. Nah, baby, we full send around here. I created the mount first, so let's start there. I looked on the back of the flat screen I wanted to put the Pi on and thought about all my options and wondered, could I mount the Pi in one of the several holes in the back? Thinking this would be a good solution, I spent a little time in FreeCAD and was able to come up with this. I chose to use Flask, the gentleman's framework, if you will. I love Flask because I've used it in the past and I'm pretty quick with it. At least that's what I told myself before I had to pull the docs out and reread them. After a bit of fidgeting, I was able to get a Hello World page going, so I knew we were set up for success. After this, we needed to sculpt the web page and give it some good old HTML and CSS goodness. With a good amount of time, Googling, and frustration, we went from potato to not as bad looking potato. Now that we are in our final form, we had to get the back end logic working. When I say back end, I'm referring to the actual moving pieces of our setup, specifically the function of ping service and move the status like green or red. Also, that juicy little top section that we have that tells us the stats of the server that this is hosted on. With all that done, here is what we came up with. At the top, you can see our CPU, RAM, and memory utilization. We also have the status next to everything. The best part is that all of the cars have working links to the actual servers that they represent. I also put the code on GitHub for anyone that wants to look at my struggle Python. With all that, we had one big hurdle to get knocked out that you think would be easy. That setup was deploying it on a Pi Zero that I found out does not have the RAM to run an actual web server. So that died, and we are waiting on a stronger Pi to come in the mail. Because Roku TVs don't have a web server, and also I thought the Pi would be strong enough to accomplish this. Although we failed at deploying the application in the manner that we wanted, I could always run it on another Pi, and I had a fun time trying to get this working. Stay tuned for our next project.